What's going on? You ever hear of the 5 shapes of the minor pentatonic scale before? Perhaps you have, but don't know how to play them or why you'd even want to play them. In this video, my goal is to dispel some of the myths and clear up some confusion about the 5 shapes of the pentatonic scale. I'll also show you how to play them, obviously, and how to move them around the neck so you can play in different keys. In my last video, we went super deep on 2 different minor pentatonic scale patterns, the E string tonic pattern and the A string tonic pattern. Those 2 patterns will come up again today, and in fact, we're gonna build this lesson off of that one. So if you are unsure about what I mean when I say the E or the A string minor pentatonic patterns, then you may want to go back and take a look at that video. Now I'm gonna go quickly over that E string tonic pattern right now, as it will actually serve as our first shape of the 5 shapes. And if we remember from previous lessons, we learned that the term pentatonic scale just translates into 5-tone or 5-note scale. All right, so any scale with 5 notes can be called a pentatonic scale. Okay, but we're gonna focus on the minor pentatonic scale today. So I wanna use A minor as our example key. So we're gonna be in A minor for a while. And if I wanna play the A minor pentatonic scale, I would play the notes A, C, D, E, G, in order. Those are our 5 notes, A, C, D, E, and G. And then if I continue to the next octave, I just repeat the pattern again. A, C, D, E, G, and then A, C, D, E, G, A, C, right? And keep going and going and going. So that's 5 notes. And what I want us to do right now, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna go and play the note A on our low E string, our 6th string, okay? And that happens to be on the 5th fret. So let's play that note. Now let's play C on the 8th fret of the 6th string. Then let's play D on the 5th fret of the 5th string, our A string, and then E on the 7th fret of that string. Then let's move to the 4th string and play G on the 5th fret and A on the 7th. So G, A. Then 3rd string, we have C, D, 5th fret, 7th fret. Then we go to the 2nd string, we got E, G. That's 5th fret, 8th fret. And then 1st string, A. And then we can go one more note past the octave to C, okay? 8th fret. So like I said before, and as you know from the last video, that is our E string tonic pattern. It's a great name for the pattern because the tonic is the first note we play on the low E string, right? That note A was here on the 5th fret. And just a quick reminder, if you don't know, the tonic refers to the note that the scale gets its name from. So the tonic of the A minor pentatonic scale is the note A. Now it's nice and easy to start a scale by playing the tonic, but we don't always want to start the scale by playing the tonic. Many guitar players learn this E string tonic pattern and eventually find themselves stuck in the box, right? Where you're only playing in this one pattern. And when they go to play a solo, they find themselves fixed in one position on the fretboard, not knowing how to move. And if we want to express ourselves fully on our guitars, then we want to be able to improvise or solo with full reign over the fretboard. Now this can take a long time to fully master, but by learning some other pentatonic shapes and patterns or boxes, then we can start to break out of the box. So for the rest of this lesson, let's call that E string tonic pattern, let's just call it box 1 or shape 1 or pattern 1. The words box, shape, and pattern essentially mean the same thing, and just saying shape 1 is a lot easier to say than the E string tonic pattern. So now that we have shape 1 of our minor pentatonic scale down, we need to learn shape 2. So shape 1 started on the tonic, on the low E string. And for A minor pentatonic, that note A was located on the 5th fret, right? 5th fret of the 6th string is the note A. And from before, we also know that the A minor pentatonic scale contains the notes A, C, D, E, and G. So if shape 1 starts on the tonic, where do you think the rest of the shapes start? There's 5 notes and 5 shapes. Yeah, exactly, right? We want to play the scale starting on each note of the scale. So we're gonna have a shape that starts on C, we're gonna have a shape that starts on D, we're gonna have a shape that starts on E, and then a shape that starts on G. Okay, so shape 2 will start on C. And what I wanna do really quick is I'm just gonna play the A minor pentatonic scale along one string, and you're gonna see the starting positions for each of the shapes, okay? So I'm gonna play the note A, then I'm gonna play C, and then instead of playing D on the 5th string, I'm going up to D on the 10th fret of the 6th string. Then E, that's 12th fret, or open. And then G is the 15th fret, or 3rd. And then back to A on the 17th fret, or the 5th fret. So each one of our boxes is going to start there. Each one of our 5 shapes is going to start on one of those notes. So let's zoom in on shape 2, and I'll show you exactly how to play that. So this is going to start on our note C. You can use a fretboard diagram that I probably have on a screen over here somewhere to find the note C, which is the 8th fret of our 6th string. Or if you wanted to take the scenic route, which I do recommend doing from time to time, you would just count up half steps from the open E string: E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C. Either way, that note C on the 8th fret was the second note that we played back in shape 1, right? I went A, C. Wow, cool. So the second note of shape 1, which is C, now becomes the first note of shape 2. Keep this in mind, remember this. This will come very handy when it's time to change keys, and I will show you how to do that at the end of the video. So C on the 8th fret of the low E string, I'm going to use my first finger there. That's my first note. Then the second note I need is D, which is the 10th fret of the 6th string. And with all these shapes, we're going to stick with exactly 2 notes on every string. So now I need to go to play E, which is the 7th fret on my A string, my 5th string. And then G is the 10th fret. So I went 8, 10, 7, 10 so far. Then I need an A, which is the 7th fret of the 4th string, and then C is on the 10th fret of the 4th string. Okay, now 3rd string, D, 7th fret, E, 9th fret. Yeah, this shape's a little trickier, right, than that first shape. 2nd string, we got G on the 8th fret, A is on the 10th. The 1st string, C is on the 8th, and D is on the 10th. So play that one more time. And experiment with different fingering. I just did a very technically sound, like my guitar teacher when I was a kid would have loved the way I just fingered that, using proper hand position where each finger got its own fret, but you can start with the first finger instead of the second. You can kind of shift like that. Some people like to use first and third finger more than first and fourth, so like, all right, just find out what works for you in terms of fingering, but I do recommend using this fixed position. Okay? Where you use your pinky. Use your pinkies, y'all. All right, so we have played shape 2 of the minor pentatonic scale now. And let's just do a quick analysis and see if we notice anything cool about the second shape and maybe how it relates to the first shape. I want you to notice how they're actually connected, these 2 shapes. Okay, so with each of these shapes, we're playing 2 notes per string. And now notice how in shape 1, the second note we play on each string becomes the first note we play on each string in shape 2. So if I demo that, I did that in shape 1, 5th to 8th fret, and then that 8th fret became the first note of shape 2. And then in shape 1, I went 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7. Oh, whoa, okay. Shape 2, I went 8, 10, and then I went 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9. Oh, so the first note of the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings was also the same as the second note on those strings in shape 1. that made any sense what I just said. I hope it did. And then the same thing works on the first and second string. Shape 1, we went 5, 8, 5, 8, right? And then on shape 2, we went 8, 10, 8, 10. Pretty cool, huh? That concept will carry on throughout the rest of the shapes. So just good to know that. All right, so shape 3 will start on the third note of the minor pentatonic scale. And if we're in the key of A minor, that note is going to be D. So I'm going to start that on the 6th string, 10th fret. That's D. And boom, pattern works from before, right? So the second note of the second shape was the 10th fret. Now that's the first note of our third shape. So if I have D on the 10th fret, then I need E on the 12th fret. And then I need G, right? That's going to be 10th fret on the A string. A is the 12th fret of the A string. Then I need C, 10th fret of the 4th string. Then I need D, 12th fret. On the third string I go 9, 12, that's E, G. On the second string I go A, C, 10, 13. And then on the first string I go D, E, 10, 12. Also check your fingering on this one. This one you have to shift a little, so find the fingers that work. A lot of first and third and maybe a little first and fourth is what I like. All right, so before I give you shape 4, try to notice the connection between shape 2 and 3, right? Let's just quickly do that. So shape 2, we did 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10. Shape 3, we did 10, 12, 10, 12, 10, 12. Whoa. So the second note on each string in shape 2 became the first note on each string in shape 3. The rest of it checks out too, right? Shape 2, we did 7, 9 on the third string. And then shape 3, that 9th fret now becomes the first note on that string. We just did 9, 12, okay? And then just to round it all off, shape 2 on the first 2 strings went 8, 10, 8, 10. And shape 3, we did 10, 13, 10, 12. All right, so let's do shape 4. Shape 4 will start on the 4th note of the scale. So for A minor pentatonic, A, C, D, E. So if I go on my 6th string up to the 12th fret, that's E. I can also play it open, which I'll show you how to do in a second. But let's start here on the 12th fret so we kind of keep the continuity we've been doing. So E, the next note I need in the scale is G, 15th fret of the E string. Then on the A string I go A and then C, that's 12th and 15th fret. The next 2 strings I do 12th and 14th fret. So the D string I play D and then E and then G, A on the 3rd string. Then on the 2nd string I play C on the 13th fret. Then D on the 15th fret. Then I need E and G on the 1st string. I just want to point this out really quick. If you haven't noticed yet, each of these shapes, the pattern on the 1st string and the 6th string is exactly the same. That's because both of these strings are the note E. All right? So whatever you do on the 6th string, you do the same thing on the 1st string. See that? Whoa! Whoa, that's crazy, man. All right, so here's shape 4, a little slower as you see the whole pattern. All right, so I told you I would show you how to play shape 4 in an open position, right? Because we started that on the 12th fret, you can just shift everything down 12 frets and you're gonna have open position, right? So what that would look like and sound like is this. So E, open open E string, G 3rd fret, A open, C 3rd fret, D open, E 2nd fret, G open, A 2nd fret, C 1st fret, D 3rd fret, E open, G 3rd fret. Okay, one other thing about shape 4, we're just gonna see if you all are paying attention. So if you watched my last video on the E and A string tonic, you've already played shape 4. It happens to be the same as the A string tonic pattern. And we call it that because the first note you play on the A string is your tonic, all right? Because that's note A there. So this will come in handy when we want to change keys. We're going to think about shape 1 and shape 4 as our kind of like pillars, all right? That we can easily find because we're going to know the notes on the E and the A string. Let's do shape 5. Shape 5, we can start on the 15th fret. If you have an electric guitar, like a full scale guitar, it should be no problem to play on the 15th fret. It might be harder because the frets are really skinny, but you should practice playing up there. You should practice playing on all of your frets, all right? So I'm gonna play shape 5 on the 15th fret and then I'll show you down on the 3rd fret. So G, right? G was the 5th note of the A minor pentatonic scale. So I'm starting on the note G here, 15th fret. I go to 17th fret A, and then on the 5th string I do the same thing. 15, 17, C, D. 4th string, 3rd string are the same. 14th fret, 17th fret, that was E and C, and then E and G, and then on the 3rd string I have A and C, and then 2nd string I do 15th fret D, 17th fret E, and then the exact same thing on the 1st string, G, A. If I shift that down an octave, so I just subtract 12 frets, right? Subtracting or adding 12 frets will either bring us down or up an octave. So 15 minus 12 is 3. 17 minus 12 is 5. Okay, so just do that for the 5th shape and you'll have it down an octave. So that's 3, 5, 3, 5, 2, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 3, 5, then backwards. Now when I played the scale down here on the 3rd fret, notice how the 2nd note on each string was my 5th fret. And when I play the 1st shape, the 1st note on each string was the 5th fret. Right, so this is just to prove to you, to show you that each shape fits into the next shape, okay? And that would work up here too. So you could go 15, 17, 15, 17, like playing the 5th shape. And see how I'm ending on the 17th fret on each string? So then my 1st shape, again, just starts on the 17th fret, which is 12 frets up from the 5th fret, which is where we started. So by knowing these 5 shapes, I'm all over the neck, right? Like I can play the 1st shape in 2 octaves, I can play the 2nd shape in 2 octaves, I can even play that 4th shape in 2 octaves. And if you have like 26 frets, you can play shape 2 and shape 3 in multiple octaves. All right, so I want to talk about changing keys for a minute here. If you haven't noticed, it's going to be very useful to learn the notes in your low E string and on your A string. This is because shape 1 starts on the tonic, with the 1st note being the tonic on the low E string. So the key of A, that starts on A. And then shape 4 starts with the tonic on the A string. So that's the 12th fret if we're in the key of A. From there, if you know all the notes on your E and A string, you could be like, all right, I want to play like in B minor. Okay, so B is not the 5th fret on the E string, it's the 7th fret. Oh, so I'm just going to play my 1st shape off of that. Off that 7th fret. The pattern stays the same, right? Then shape 2 starts on the 2nd note of shape 1. Right? It doesn't matter what key you're in, that's always true. So B, D. Okay, that's the 2nd note of the B minor pentatonic, so I'm going to start shape 2 there. Shape 3 starts on the 2nd note of that scale. E. So So I'm playing third shape in the 12th fret now. Okay, and then check this out. I'm playing now the second note of shape 3, was the 14th fret, so I'm going to start shape 4 there. And that note is B on the A string. There's my A string tonic. So I could have just been like, oh, first shape. Or fourth shape. Pretty cool, right? All right, so before I give you some exercises to try to shift into different keys and play different shapes in different keys, I'm just gonna give you a moment to check out the 5 shapes of the pentatonic, of the A minor pentatonic, all laid out on the fretboard. This makes it very easy to see the connection between all the notes in them, and kind of how each shape lines up into the next, or like backs up into the next one, right? That's most likely on the screen right now, but also all that stuff will be contained in the PDF down below in the description. So in these exercises, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bark out a few different keys and shapes. Your job is to find the tonic in each key on the 6th string, or maybe the 5th string, and then use the knowledge you've gained in this lesson about moving from shape to shape to play the appropriate shape that I call out. All right, feel free to use any neck diagram or scale diagram that will aid you in this. It's not about memorizing, it's about processing and gaining the knowledge. So let's play shape 1 of the G minor pentatonic. Take a minute to think about that. Here it is. So I start on the 3rd fret, G, right? So that means I just boom. 3rd fret, shape 1, starts on the tonic. Now let's do shape 3 of that G minor pentatonic. So shape 1, that's the 2nd note, right? So that's where my 2nd shape's gonna start. Now let's do the 2nd shape here. That's how my 2nd shape starts, right? So that means this note, the 2nd note of the 2nd shape, is where my 3rd note starts, or 3rd shape starts. And that note's C. And the G minor pentatonic would be G, B flat, C, D, F. Oh, it's perfect, it works out. So I'm starting on C, which is my 8th fret. So that's where shape 3 would start. All right, let's do C minor pentatonic now, and I want you to play shape 4 and shape 5. So for shape 4, the easiest way to do that, instead of going to shape 1 and like going through all the shapes, when you have shape 4, use the A string. So where's C on the A string? Oh, well here we are on my A string, so I can play my A string tonic pattern or my 4th shape. And then shape 5 starts on the 2nd note of shape 4, which we just played. Oh, so here's shape 5, 6th fret. All right, let's do B flat minor pentatonic. If you're afraid of sharps and flats, don't be. They're just like every other note, and we don't discriminate against flat or sharp notes. So flat just means it's a half step lower than whatever note is written, and sharp just means it's a half step higher. So I want B flat. B is on the 7th fret of the E string, and as we know, moving down a half step is the same as moving down 1 fret. So B flat is the 6th fret on the E string. Let's go ahead and play shape 1 of B flat minor pentatonic. All right, so I kind of just gave you the answer, 6th fret. Now go ahead and play shape 5 of B flat minor pentatonic. Did you figure it out? Where does shape 5 start for B flat minor pentatonic? The answer is it starts on on fret 4. You could have figured that out by going, okay, shape 1, shape 2, shape 3, shape 4. Oh, there's shape 5. So I ended up here on the 16th fret, and then you could move it down an octave and you'd be on the 4th fret, right? Another way to think about the fifth shape is this though, okay? I've heard people describe this concept before and I think it's kind of cool. So the fifth shape ends on the fret that the first shape starts on, right? So the second note of each string on that fifth shape becomes the first note of the first shape. And the first shape, all those starting notes on each string are all in the same fret, right? And the second note on each string in the fifth shape is all in the same fret. So in B flat minor, it's like this sixth fret, right? So some people consider this, they think of this as like the equator or like the half court line or whatever, right? So when you play shape 1, you're going above the equator, you're going north of the equator. When you play shape 5, you're going below the equator. I don't know how useful that is to understanding the pentatonic scale as a whole, but it's just kind of a cool image to invoke. And I think approaching things from as many angles as possible and thinking about things in as many ways as possible will actually help you understand things better in the long run. I hope that you're getting the hang of this whole 5 shapes business. Ideally, at this point, you have an understanding of how these 5 shapes work, interact with each other, and why we want to know them all. The minor pentatonic is a great way to get your feet wet soloing and improvising. This is because it's relatively easy to play, and it will very rarely yield a bum note or a bad note, assuming that you're playing in the right key. Most of the guitar players that you like to listen to, whether it's in the blues, rock, funk, or other genres, use these scales to design their solos and to write their riffs. So one thing I suggest to all my students is when it's time to start improvising, figure out the key of your favorite song or find a good backing track on YouTube and start to try to improvise. Go slow and listen to the sound you make. The idea is to make a melodic statement rather than play as many notes as you can. So in the next lesson, I will discuss the confounding topic of major versus minor pentatonic scales. And I will also introduce the concept of the blues scale. I promise I can make these concepts a little less confusing for you. The key is to be patient and keep building your knowledge and skill from the ground up. If something isn't clicking right away, don't get frustrated. Stay with it, go over it again, maybe take a break, and come back another time. So often our brain just needs a good night's sleep and some time away to connect all the concepts we learn. And with that, I bid you adieu and wish you the best on your journey. Peace out.